On the Olympic Discovery Trail, we had 3 very different experiences. But before we start riding, there's a couple of ways to get there, and we started this adventure by crossing from Seattle to the Olympic Peninsula on the Edmonds-Kingston Ferry. We hopped on with our RV and tow vehicle for the 40-minute crossing. Once on the other side, we drove to Port Angeles and our KOA. We chose the Port Angeles KOA as our home away from home because it was super convenient to all the things we wanted to do. You're going to want to hang in till the end of this video to see more scenes from this beautiful area. Diversity is the hallmark of the 3,600 square miles of the Olympic Peninsula. Coast, forest, and mountain ecosystems combine to offer spectacular scenery. Beginning on the shore of Puget Sound at Port Townsend and traveling west to the Pacific coast at the tribal community of La Push, the Olympic Discovery Trail has been designated as the westernmost segment of the Great American Rail Trail that extends across the United States from coast to coast. Highlights of the trail are found at Discovery Bay, Sequim Bay, the rural Dungeness River area, Port Angeles waterfront, Elwha River, the north shore of Lake Crescent, and the forested landscape of the western Olympic Peninsula. The Olympic Discovery Trail grows as sections are completed and will eventually cover a distance of 135 miles, more than 90 of which are currently in place. The first section of the trail we rode was from the rest area east of Port Angeles to Sequim. Within less than a mile, we were facing our first challenge, a pretty steep downhill, which means there must be a pretty steep uphill. I'm scared.
Yeah, well, we got turbo. I think we're good to go. Be careful.
I'm never excited about going down a steep hill, but we do have powerful hydraulic disc brakes, so that brings some comfort. Oh, I'd never get up that if I didn't have an e-bike.
Oh God, no. Not without pushing.
Ow. Ow. So what started out to be a nice peaceful little ride, flat trail, went vroom, and vroom.
And started out at maybe a quarter of a mile, but it was a little fun addition to the trail.
Just have to have good brakes and
a lot of stamina.
enough gear, not enough gears.
Yeah.
It was easy getting up it because I was in turbo
Yeah.
and one. Oh well.
Made your legs spin around fast.
Let's see what's next.
Off we go.
The start of our ride, it was a test for both the bike and the rider. It was an almost continuous up and downhill ride for the first several miles. flowers. The trail eventually flattened out and went along the edge of residential and farmland for the rest of the ride. Railroad Bridge Park at the heart of the Olympic Discovery Trail showcases the railroad bridge built in 1915 by the Milwaukee Road. From 1915 to 1980, the Milwaukee Road operated the rail line, which transported passengers and timber from Port Townsend to Port Angeles and west to connect with several logging railroads. The line was abandoned in 1985, and today the truss and trestle represent the longest bridge over the Dungeness River. After several minutes of navigating the trail through Sequim, we felt we'd gone far enough. So we used Google Maps to find a Mexican restaurant not far off the trail, had lunch, and headed back. In total, we went 15 miles one way. What's the matter? Oh, I should turn, huh? It's paved, but the pavement is uneven, somewhat. The crossing roads, the drivers don't really care and go as fast as they can. And I've got so much anxiety about going up and down those big flipping hills because I'm sure I'm gonna fall and Rainey's gonna speed bump right over the top of me, which I hope not. I've got to learn to calm down or I will fall. Our second ride along the Olympic Discovery Trail was along the shores of Lake Crescent. This is also known as the Spruce Railroad Trail. Lake Crescent is a stunning 624 feet deep glacier-carved lake and is one of the iconic destinations of Olympic National Park. The crystal clear lake is outlined with a stunning forested mountain range and offers a variety of hikes, activities, lodging, and viewpoints. All right, we're on a different slice of the Olympic Discovery Trail. This is a 12-mile long, what they call the Spruce Railroad, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's a beautiful day. We've got some fun tunnels. We're going along the side of Lake Crescent the entire way. I think it's only 12 miles long, but it's a nice ride.
Well, it's the extreme opposite of yesterday, which we were very disappointed in, all kind of through residential and open areas with just bumpy trails and such. This is just gorgeous every place you look. We could video the whole thing and not be bored with it.
This section of the trail is probably the foremost of the Olympic Discovery Trail's showpieces. It offers scenic views along the north shore of Lake Crescent, and it is in Olympic National Park, which was established in 1938 by President Franklin Roosevelt. Sitka spruce is unique to these temperate rainforests of the coastal Pacific Northwest. Its strong, light wood was found to be particularly useful for World War I era airplanes, so the U.S. Army built the Spruce Railroad to transport this strategic lumber from the coastal forest to Port Angeles. However, World War I ended just 19 days after completion of the railroad, so commercial logging companies took over the rail line and used it until 1954. In honor of its railroad past, this section of the Olympic Discovery Trail is commonly known as the Spruce Railroad Trail. About halfway down the lake, we start to climb, and we're eventually high above the lake shore. We rode about 10 miles until we decided to turn around and start to head back. The last section of the trail that we rode was a short ride of about 8 miles round trip. It took us from the 9/11 Memorial Waterfront Park to the Coast Guard station on the peninsula. Here we rode along the shoreline of the Strait of Juan de Fuca, offering views of Port Angeles Harbor and even Canada. And if you want to take the ferry over to Victoria, British Columbia, you'd get it here. We ate at Downriggers on the water and had a great meal, and it's located right next to the ferry. The trail snaked along the waterfront and even went through a working paper mill. Eddy's Hook is a natural sandy spit that extends from the western end of Port Angeles downtown. There are several city parks along the hook where you can watch seals, otters, and birds.